Okay, so here our first lecture is about introduction to the separation processes. So today you will be briefly introduced with like common separation techniques which we observe in our surrounding. So you will see some common processes, some common things which you see every day in your life. So with which separation technique they are connected, we will discuss them, and actually all those principles which are valid for these small applications, small example, they are also valid for large scale application of the chemical plants. So then at the end of the, some part, major part is initially this common separation techniques, and then there is importance of like industrial separation technique. That being chemical engineers, why we are going to study this subject, as I already told you yesterday that you have to study some separation techniques, but why they are important on industrial scale for us, for being chemical engineers, why we need to study, why we should have knowledge about these techniques. So let's look at first daily life examples, and we have to figure out that with which separation technique this process is like similar to which separation technique. If you remember, just to recall from yesterday, I told you that in this subject you have to study like first of all absorption, then there was leaching, liquid extraction, membrane. So these are four common techniques which we have to cover hopefully. So first very common one which you usually see in your surrounding, like black tea or green tea, like which we usually take. So in this case, first of all, maybe you already know that when we put like this, even they are the beads or leaves of any tea, so when you put in the water, so you get that water color changes, so it becomes dark. You can get different colors based on the like different leaves or different beads of in these teas. So uh, why this color is appearing? So can anyone tell me why that color appears, from where that color come?
सर बिकॉज वो जो मटेरियल होता है उसके अंदर दो चीज़ें होती हैं। एक चीज़ तो हम एब्जॉर्ब उसमें टी में हो जाएगी, और बाकी जो रॉ मटेरियल होगा जो रह जाएगा वेस्ट मटेरियल वो उसके अंदर होगा टी बैग में।
Okay, right. Actually, this color comes from those leaves or beads. You wanna say this?
यस सर, वो जो उसके अंदर
Yes,
मटेरियल
right.
है टी बैग में।
Exactly. Yes. So it comes from there. So this color which we see usually, that is just extracted. Something is extracted. Something comes out from those beads or the grains. So what happens if you just put it directly in only cold water? So do we get some color still?
Sir, we will definitely get
यस
some colors, but they will be very light. They will not be dark because the absorption will not take place at such a great amount.
Yeah, you are right. By the way, this is not absorption, but okay, you are right exactly, because in the cold water when we put it, still we get some color, but that is not that dark because it is not much extraction. So, why we boil the tea, why we just increase the temperature, or why we put it in the hot water? The same, it is linked with the last point, that when you will have high temperature, this extraction is higher as compared to when it is at low temperature, and you will get like better tea. And by the way, all those like who like tea, they know that we have to cook it for a long time. Not long time for whole day or like that, but if you cook it for very short time, it is not that good. Do you agree?
Yes, sir, definitely.
So why that's happened? Because the same thing, the mixer didn't mix well, as well as the extraction is not that much. So can you tell me this is which separation technique now is involved here in this case? If you out of those four, I give you four options. That like there is absorption, then there was leaching, liquid extraction, and membrane. This is one of those four.
Membrane.
Membrane
Membrane, I
separation.
think.
एब्जॉर्प्शन।
No, guys. Okay. Look.
Leaching?
Yes, the someone who said leaching is right, because I told you yesterday that leaching is also called solid liquid extraction. So when we put it this tea, like either it is in the form of bag. Actually, there are like tea beads or tea leaves. So something from that solid, which is leaf or bead, that comes out and that becomes part of the liquid. So this is an example of leaching. Simple, like extraction of something from solid and it is transferred to the liquid. This is the technique which is used in the phenomena of leaching. Later on in the later stage, in the second half of semester, like after midterm, we will study this leaching part in detail. So in that you will see that always we are working on something in which we take away, we extract some part of some solid and make it part of the liquid stream, or just transfer that solid to the liquid stuff. This is called leaching, and that you can commonly see in these tea stuffs. Okay, clear about this? Next, soft drinks. Hopefully you all are fond of these soft drinks. So here I think I have to show you one video, but okay, let's look at the video and you have to observe and then tell me what you observe here. Yes, guys, can you tell me what did you observe there?
Sir, we observed that there was pressure of carbon dioxide, the gas inside of the cold drink, Coca-Cola, and it said that almost 2 bar pressure is lost when we open it. So like there is like 2 bar of pressure created by that gas.
Yeah,
He measured it by the gauge.
right. So he's right. Hopefully, all other students observed the same. What he did, he actually connected one pressure gauge with the like one soft drink bottle, and that was of only like 1.5 liter. And when he just shake it, uh, maybe you observed initially when he connected that gauge to the bottle, there was not like a pressure indication that we usually see that these gauges have indicate zero when there is like only atmospheric pressure. But later on he just shake the bottle and you saw that pressure was increasing and I reached to the 2 bar. So from where that pressure came, actually you know that in all of these soft drinks there is carbon dioxide which is absorbed inside the liquid, and when he shake, what actually he was doing, he was just applying some external force to release that carbon from that liquid. So in that case, that that gas come to the top, and that was applying pressure, and that pressure was observed on the pressure gauge. So here, maybe you already are aware about it. What happens when we open the bottle? Actually, what we are doing at that time?
Sir,
Pressure
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 is
reduces.
lost.
We just decrease the pressure. And when we are decreasing the pressure, then what happens? The gas starts coming out of this. The gas which was absorbed inside the liquid at high pressure, when you release that pressure, when you just open the bottle, actually you are exposing it now to the atmospheric pressure, and this pressure is low. So that gas which was highly pressurized inside, that starts coming out of this. And what is also at the same time, what is the effect of temperature? Did you observe any time on this, the effect of temperature? Suppose you keep this bottle outside, outside mean inside the room, instead of like in the freezer or fridge, you just place it out. So and you just open it. Initially you took some of that like liquid, and then you just close the bottle, but place it instead of fridge, you just place it out. So did you observe that the gas which is present inside that is released early as compared to this if you just place it back inside the fridge or freezer? Did you observe this phenomenon? Or no, you always put it back to the fridge? So you can observe this. Actually, the thing which is important here, the first point which when I said when you open the bottle, in that case we are decreasing the pressure, and when we decrease the pressure, so in that case the gas which was available inside that liquid at high pressure, that comes out of this. So that is one effect of pressure on the absorption. From this you can see that by the way, one thing I use this word absorption. Here the gas is absorbed inside the liquid, and when you decrease the pressure, that gas is coming out of this. It's mean in absorption, when we will decrease the pressure, the gas which is absorbed somewhere will be dissolved. At the same time, in case of temperature, when you increase the temperature, the absorption of these gases also decreases. The first one, definitely that point you closely observe. The other one, effect of temperature, you usually don't observe, but that you can see, you can observe that if you place this bottle outside instead of fridge, in the room, anywhere, like at high temperature, the gas which is absorbed, that is released more easily as compared to this when it is at low temperature. So in these kind of example here, all these soft drinks, the gas, this is example of gas absorption. And the phenomena of gas absorption, in which I'm telling you that gas absorption is high at higher temperature, high pressure and low temperature. When pressure is high, the gas will be more absorbed, as well as when temperature is low, some gas will be more absorbed inside the liquid. And if we inverse this phenomenon, definitely absorption of gas then decreases. So what about these? Did you see this kind of stuff somewhere in your surrounding?
Yes, sir. We have seen
Yes,
this.
बाइक्स में होता है.
Yeah, in the vehicles, in bikes. So you have seen that in the vehicles, in the cars, there are like three type of. Most of the time, there are three different type of the filters in cars. So they usually call them like fuel filter. Then there is oil filter like for mobile oil, and then there is like air filter. So what is the purpose of these filters? Did you observe? Do you know?
So ये
To remove
पेट्रोलियम में
dust
से जो
particles.
यस सर, ये जो इम्प्योरिटीज हैं इनको हटाएंगे ताकि हमारा जो इंजन है उसके ऊपर इफेक्ट ना पड़े, इंजन लाइफ
Okay,
बढ़ जाए.
what does impurities mean here?
Solid dust particles.
Yeah, you're right
सर वो
here. Actually, these are most of the time, these filters are used to remove the solid particle. The purpose of these filter is to remove any solid particle that can be part of like fuel, that can be available in the oil or sometime in the air. So if there are those particles, they should be removed. They shouldn't be they should not go to those parts where the movement is taking place, where combustion is taking place, so that uh, they are not damaged, or because when there will be some solid particle coming in between some moving parts, there will be like abrasion and kind of stuff, and you will be just damaging the equipment. So why they are different filter? Why don't we use only one kind of filter everywhere?
Sir, I believe for oil oil has different properties. It has different viscosity, and so if we use the same filter for different liquids, for example, air has different like viscosity. It takes different time and different kind of the size of the pores to pass through. So if we use a universal filter for all of them, it might affect our useful air and oil as well. Like if
Yes, right. Good. So based on the properties of the like your fluids, because in case of air, you know that air there will be maximum the dust particles. So dust particle they you have to screen them, and air can also even pass through very small pores, and that filter then should have very small pore as compared to the other, which for example if you just compare fuel oil and oil is highly viscous as compared to fuel oil. Fuel oil mean actually here that is used as a fuel, which is normally like either you use gasoline or we call it petrol or diesel. So the other oil, mobile oil, that is highly viscous. So he is right exactly due to this the different properties of your fluids which you want to clean. So you have different kind of filters. So out of this filter, when you pass that fluid, you pass in such a way that all those particles which you want to retain, which you don't want to pass through this, they will be retained on the surface of filters, while clean fluid, that fluid mean either air or the oil will pass through that. So the other technique which you will, I hopefully you have seen this, the water filters in your homes, or maybe not in, if it is not installed at someone's home, maybe in the surrounding here in the department somewhere you have seen this. So did you see that sometimes there are more than one stages, but in most of the cases, not in sometimes, but most of the time you have different stages. They are like in commonly three stages, or at least two stages. So why we don't? Why do we have different stages here in these filter? Why not only one?
So ये
sir,
different size होगा, particle का size different होता है.
So there are three different to filter out different kinds of impurities. Like for some salts we use a different kind of filter, but for some other impurities we might use different filters.
Okay, good. Yes, you are right. Actually, I said here why different stages. Maybe some of you think that these all three are same. No, they are not same. Actually, they are different from each other. So they have different characteristics. For example, initially the first filter that is usually used to retain the solid particle which are suspended inside the water. Maybe in the homes or somewhere you have observed that that's usually on the surface of that filter you can very easily identify that some dust or like these kind of particles are retained on its surface. And then next usually is like carbon type filter which is used to remove some specific chemicals, and then most of the time the third one is related to UV light, in which maybe you have observed some kind of light inside the third one. Did you observe or not?
So
Mostly
UV,
that is
sir.
covered. Yes, UV light. So what is purpose of that light in that case? Is that a filter?
So ये
Sir,
bacteria
it
bacteria
kills
killing.
the germs. I think.
Yeah, exactly. You are right. That is not filter actually. That is one light treatment in which we pass the UV light, and that is used to rupture the surface of like these viruses and bacteria so that they can get killed. You use it actually to kill the microorganisms which are still available, which were not removed with the help of filters, because they have usually very small size and they are not retained on the surface of these filters. They keep on passing with the water. So this technique is usually used to kill those germs. So most of the time the third filter here, that is not filtered, that is actually UV treatment stage. Okay, so this is another example of like filtration which you have seen here. I mean, there is some surface or some barrier through which you are separating some particles which are part of the water or which can be part of the water as well. Sometimes some chemicals which you cannot see with the like visible eye or naked eye, but they are actually part of that water stream, and they are chemical, so they can also be absorbed on the surface of these filter, and usually they call it like carbon filter, or actually that is activated carbon. So just for your information, that's mostly activated carbon, and on that surface, activated carbon is used as an adsorbent. So those chemicals which pass through the first filter can be adsorbed on the surface of second one. By the way, did you observe that we need any force to like push the water through these or no?
Yes, sir. There's definitely the force. The pressure applied from the tap is the force.
Tap, really?
Yes, sir.
Heads.
Actually, you are right.
The
Actually,
potential
the water,
energy.
yes, yes,
So the
exactly. The
potential energy
water,
of the tank.
good, good. Yes, water should have some head to pass through this. By the way, just for your information, maybe some of you have observed or have seen small RO plants at homes, or maybe somewhere in your surrounding. Did any of you see small RO plant? RO mean reverse osmosis plants. They are also used for like cleaning of water. Any of you? No, okay,
Yes, sir.
fine, but let me tell you, actually, in those, when there is a membrane, through the membrane, later on we will study, actually, because we have to study the membrane. Due to this, I'm just telling you at this stage. So in membranes, there is high pressure drop as compared to even these. These are simple filters, and through these, liquid can pass. If it has a small head, it will pass through this filter. But in through the membrane, you need high pressure. So in order to make that pressure, we have to pressurize the water through and then pass through the membrane. Then water can pass through the membrane. So actually, in these this kind of separation, you will need some force to push the water through the system. So another very common technique which you have seen, I think you have performed a lot of experiment in chemistry labs are related to chemistry. So CPI and UP and chemistry. So why we use such kind of filter? What is
ये
purpose
लिक्विड
here?
सॉलिड की लिक्विड और सॉलिड जो हमारा बनता है क्रिस्टल्स उनको हमने लिक्विड से अलग करना होता है तो
Yeah,
फिर हम ये
in
फिल्टर
order to
पेपर
separate,
यूज करते
most of the time in order to separate the crystals which are formed, or maybe sometime to remove some solid from the liquid. And can you tell me which one is the useful stuff here, like for you, either solid or liquid or both, or can be any, it depends.
हैं
Sir, it
क्रिस्टल्स मेनली
depends on
क्रिस्टल
like
और
Common
मदर
होता है।
लिक्विड
Yes, most of the lab experiments which you perform, there is like crystals are for, they are important for you. So when it depends, sometime in some of the application, maybe your solid is of no use. In the actually, I'm talking about with respect to the industry. Sometimes that liquid which is just separated, that is of importance, because, for example, if we just go back here, the solid retained on the surface of filter or the liquid which is coming out, which one is for for our benefit or for use? Definitely liquid which is coming out of these filters, not those solid which are retained on the surface. So but in the lab scale experiments, definitely most of the time, maybe sometime you perform some experiment in which maybe liquid was important, but most of the time the solids are the important for you. Okay, so here, what is the driving force? As we said that most of the time in the filtration equipments, you need some driving force.
sir
What is
gravity.
driving? Anyone else? Any other force?
So gravity.
Sir,
Yeah,
potential
good.
energy kind of.
Actually, most of the time here, like gravity is the major main phenomena, because due to gravity, then liquid and solid, definitely gravity acts on both, but solid cannot pass through this because, by the way, why solid do not pass through this filter?
Sir, the size of the
पोर
pores
साइज
is not enough for
Yes,
the
Size
good,
solids to
बड़ा
pass
good.
through.
होता है सर।
Exactly. Because this separation is taking place based on the pore size. So we use such kind of filter which do not allow solid particle to pass through this. Only the liquid will pass through. So based on that, when the gravity acts, definitely the liquid will start penetrating and it will go down. So the same thing as I already said, that driving force in case of other filter, maybe you have to push, you have to pump the liquid. By the way, did you observe in the lab one other filtration, and which we call it like vacuum filtration? Did you use any time, or did you observe somewhere vacuum filtration? No. Vacuum filtration.
No.
Vacuum filtration. Vacuum filtration. Did you observe it? Did you use it somewhere in some lab?
No, sir.
Okay, you didn't use,
No,
but
sir.
for your information, the force of gravity here means sometime we want to go for quick filtration. So for that purpose, what you do, you apply here the vacuum. You just connect this. Definitely that will be a bit different. This flask and all this filtration system. So, but then you can just connect these. Your flask with some vacuum pump, and when you will just start that pump, vacuum will be applied, and when then vacuum is applied, definitely here when pressure is reduced, some suction is created and liquid can quickly pass through the pores of filter and go down. So just if you don't know about this technique or didn't observe, I will ask you to just today, for today's like a small homework, you don't need to submit it to me, just write vacuum filtration on lab scale and just observe. Maybe if you can see some video or can go through some article, it will not take more than 10 minutes and you will easily get the idea. Okay, so please just look for this so that you will have idea what is vacuum filtration and how it's working or how it's going on. So all these kind of filter which we are calling like water filter, they are all filters. Actually I'm calling them car filter because they were used in the vehicle mostly. So then there is a lab filter. So these are example of, or we can link with the separation technique which we have to study. They are somehow linked with the membranes. Although in these all kind of filter which we have discussed, from the common life, they are all separating some particles from some liquid stream or gas stream based on the pore size. We said that like when any liquid or solid which is carrying some liquid or the gas which is carrying some solid particle, when it will pass through some filter, uh, while passing through the filter, the separation takes place based on the size of the particle. If it is smaller than the pores of that filter, they will pass through this. If the size of the particle is higher than the pores of the filter, they will be retained on the surface of the filter. And later on, when we will study the membrane, you will see that sometimes there are some kind of membrane. Even in those membrane, you will see that without pores, the separation are taking place. But at the moment, I don't want to go in its detail. Definitely we have to study those kind of membrane, but this for your information, keep in mind, because if someone says that there is a membrane and it didn't contain any pores and still separation is taking place, so you should have you should know at least this basic information that yes, it is possible. In that case, what phenomena takes place and what happens there, we will study later. But for this, it should be in your mind that yes, there are some kind of membrane in which even without the pores, penetration can take place. Actually there, maybe some of you will be curious about this. There actually then the separation is not based on the size, because when you apply those membrane for gases, and usually the gases, now you want to separate, for example, hydrogen from the oxygen or nitrogen from oxygen in the air. So they will have definitely small difference in their molecular size, but it is not like that some solid particle is there and some other like gas particle, and they can be easily separated. In case of these two gases which I'm telling you, for example nitrogen and oxygen, now there is not size based separation. Then you have to look for some other property, and based on that other property we have to make separation. Okay, another one, maybe you have seen somewhere in FSC, I think you studied such kind of experiment. Did you perform such kind of experiment in which you have a sand and iron filling and you just mix them and then separate them?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
it was in fine science. So can you tell me what kind of force is taking place here and what is purpose here of separation? How
Magnetic
separation takes?
force.
Okay,
magnetic
right.
force, sir.
So here, I mean, actually, when you wanna, these separate two solids, and mostly these iron, if it is part of some solid, mixture, so it can be easily separated with the help of magnet. And here, exactly, you are right. Some magnetic force takes place. So that magnetic force can be classified as an example of some. Like generally, if we classify it, we can call it some kind of electrostatic separation. So in which some kind of like magnetic field or some kind of charge is like involved. So I think, but this technique is not that much applied somewhere. If you want to separate the iron, yes, from maybe in some industry which involve ores or like these kind of things, so maybe you can use it there, but not that commonly used in the industries. So up to here, if I just summarize quickly, we have discussed some common examples. For example, we started from the tea. So in the tea leaves are these kind of tea beads. The extraction of some color towards like liquid is due to the leaching phenomenon. In this case, actually something is transferred from the solid to the liquid, and this is commonly known as leaching. In the second case, then we saw that there was like gas absorption in soft drinks, and that is, as its name is already being pronounced, like absorption. That is absorption phenomena. And I told you just quickly by showing one video and like just discussing that when we open the bottle, what happens? We release the pressure, and due to that release of pressure, or due to exposure of the liquid to the low pressure, the gas which was absorbed inside this just comes out. And the same will be applied on the large scale as well. If you increase the temperature, at high temperature, definitely the gas is more easily dissolved from the liquid. And then there was different kind of filter, like filter used in the vehicle. They are different filters. Actually, in those different filter, for air filter, there is fuel or oil filter. And why they are different? Because all the fluids have different properties, so we have to follow the different filters for the separation. And then next there was something water filter, commonly which you observe, and also we discussed that these water filter are more than one stages, and the purpose of different stages is to remove different kind of impurities. And then the last one, like for example some lab scale application of filtration and electrostatic separation with the help of like some magnet. So all those filter which were discussed, they were part of like, or they are close to the membrane separation techniques, in which there is some barrier, and through that barrier you just pass some things, and other things are retained on the surface. And here all those example of filtration which we discussed, they are size based separation. Size based mean if like particle size is small, and then that will pass through the pore, and if particle size is larger than the pore, it will be just retained on the surface. So up to here, if you have any question. Right, okay. So importance of separation.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, if we have two liquids that are miscible with each other, so how we will separate them? Which technique will be used?
Yeah, liquid extraction. Okay.
Sir, I think it is based on with liquid extraction we separate the liquids which are immiscible. Am I right?
No. Actually,
Fractional
initially
distillation.
two liquids are miscible with each other, and then we have to introduce something from outside that is actually immiscible with one of those which were already two were miscible. Actually, this technique is initially any two chemical, they are miscible. Actually, I don't have any example from the surrounding in our common life. Due to this, I tried to cover three techniques, and yes, I didn't include here liquid extraction because in our common life, at least I don't have anything in my mind so that I can tell you.
Sir,
So in liquid extraction, actually there initially the two liquids, they are miscible with each other, and then and they cannot be separated with the other techniques. So then we introduce something from outside, uh, with in that outside liquid, one of those components which were initially present, like one of those component is miscible with the newly introduced chemical in higher affinity as compared to the first one, and then when it is miscible in higher affinity, it will be transferred to that easily, and then we can separate them later. Okay.
Sir, but can't we use the temperature to our advantage, like the boiling points of the liquid? If
Actually, later on. By the way, one thing I don't wanna like do a lot of discussion on this at this point because many of the students will get confused. But just to answer your question, if separation is possible on the temperature basis, then we will not go for this technique maybe. uh, Actually we go for such kind of technique when those kind of like distillation kind of separation are not possible. Okay, because
I
they are
see, sir.
visible, they are yes very already very close boiling, and in such kind of cases we look for such technique in which we can get them separated. Got it? Hopefully I
Yes, sir,
answered
got
the
it.
question. Yeah, yeah. Because if that is possible, then we don't need to go for this one, because they are well developed technologies like based on the like distillation. But when we can't find anything like that, then we have to look for something, some other technique which is either liquid extraction. But now a lot of developments are taking place on even membrane side, that now yes they are miscible with each other, but they will develop such a membrane that will allow one of the chemical to pass through and will retain other on the surface. Okay, so that can be another option to you to do such kind of separation. Any other question? Right, okay, let's start with this importance of separation. So why do chemical engineers study separation processes? Can any of you answer this?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Because
So it is a major part of
because
unit operations.
Yeah,
every
good.
time when we so every time
Okay,
when we produce a product, it contains some kind of impurities, and
okay,
as a chemical
good.
engineer, we have to make a pure product that can sell in market.
Okay, good. Any
S-
other answer?
सर
Sir, when a
सर रॉ
reaction
मटेरियल कभी
takes,
भी प्योर में नहीं पड़ा होता रॉ मटेरियल
Yeah,
कभी भी
good.
प्योर में नहीं पड़ा होता तो उसको भी
That's also
हमने
good.
प्योर करना होता है इसलिए
You are right. Good,
sir,
good,
when
good.
a reaction takes place, there's always
Also
a
for this technique,
limiting reactant and an excess reactant. So if the limiting reactant gets used up, then the
That's good.
excess, we have to separate
Yes,
the excess reactant from the product. So in that case, we use
exactly.
separation
Like
techniques.
you can say that you can say like unreacted reactants used to be separated from the product. Exactly. Any other answer? Okay, that's good.
Sir,
You guys have
catalyst
already
separation.
covered these things. Yes, sometime good. Yes, catalyst separation can take place, and that I was expecting from you. So that's good. So usually when you will see typical chemical plant, there will be like as you said, because when we say chemical plant, most of the time there is a reactor because we are producing something. So uh, but kindly don't confuse it here with sometime maybe you will see some plants, you see chemical industries, and you say that they don't have a reactor, because sometime what they are doing, they are taking the product, or maybe they are working only on the raw material side and preparing the like material to be sent to any industry, or sometimes they take some product and then just make separation. Though, but there when there will be a like a complete chemical industry, it will definitely contain a reactor, and then there will be a lot of separators. So due to this, when there are a lot of separator, we need to study this, because separation of mixtures, like uh, for example, you guys said that sometimes we need to purify our raw material so that it can be sent to the reactor. As well, there are unreacted like reactant part of the product. Sometimes more than one products are produced actually, which we call them like along with your pure or main product, there are some side products, they are also be produced, so they can be separated. Sometimes catalysts can be separated. So in order to do all these separation, we need some separation equipment, and they are all part of all chemical industries, all processes. So just look at this one just journal example. Maybe here I'm again calling it journal example, because you will not see all kind of things in each and every industry. Yes, some part of this sheet or flow sheet will be valid, for some industries and some other will be valid for some other industries. But okay, initially you can see that maybe you can read raw material are entering to some, kindly mute your mics. So raw material are entering to some separation unit. So when raw material are entering to some separation unit, here what we do, as you already told, that we remove impurities. Sometimes impurity can be part of that. So just to give you one example, for example, if you visit any fertilizer industries and in urea production plants, the natural gas which is commonly used here for the production of like urea as a raw material, initially we start with like this natural gas. So from this natural gas, actually you get the hydrogen, and then hydrogen is reacted with the nitrogen and you get ammonia, and then ammonia is a part of like a urea production plant. So when you bring the natural gas that is already purified somehow on the plant where it is produced, but still it contains some impurities, and you will observe that they have some separation equipment at the start, and one of those which is commonly used, that is used to separate some water which is present inside this. Sometimes they can have further some reactor to remove the sulfur which is part of this stream, so that sulfur will not damage the catalyst, which is later in the like next section. So just I'm giving you one example, that in that natural gas there can be water traces, they can be removed, as well as if some other impurity, for example sulfur, is removed. So in the reactor something is produced, and if I just move in the same line along with that liquid product, as someone already said this, that there can be unreacted reactants. So some reactants which are in excess or which are not like completely reacted, so they can move out along with this in the form of either liquid product or maybe in the gaseous stream. So on any side they can go, it depends on the process. So for example, we just consider that our unreacted are going to this stream in the liquid, so you have to do separation, that here now 3 separation are taking place, or if this stream which is coming to this separator is converted into 3. One is your major product, sometimes that is also, if byproduct is there, that can also be separated, and then there is a recycle stream, recycle of unreacted reactants. So by the way, this is just some only one name written, separation. When you guys have to start, I think, plant design project, so you will see that there are a lot of equipments after this reactor, maybe sometimes 5, 6, 4, 3, a lot of equipments are used, because in one of the equipment you can't do all of the separation. Sometimes some equipment are specialized, or they are used for some one separation of, for example, product from the byproduct, and then there will be a one separator which will be still removing some of the unreacted reactants from the product, and so on. So you have a lot of separation equipment. At the same time, if there are gaseous stream are produced, you can like go for their separation. Separation in terms of that, for example, he said recovery mean anything which is of our use, we can just get that separated from the other gases which are of no use, which you have to vent from this plant or emit them, so that they can be separated as well. One here he mentioned actually all 3 streams, solid, liquid and gases. For solid, most of the time one of the student has mentioned that, for example, catalyst recovery. So in some of the plants, maybe catalyst is not fixed inside the reactor, catalyst is for example fluidized or like that kind of assembly. So in that you can get separated your catalyst later on, and then after recovery you can send it back to the reactor. So overall, just to summarize, around one reactor there can be a lot of separation equipments, and in those separation equipment different separation will be taking place, and to perform different kind of separation you will need different separation techniques. Some of those you already studied, for example, you already studied somewhere distillation. In this course you are studying, and I told you that in the next semester you have to study some other separation techniques. So all those separation techniques, they are used in the plants like for performing various separations. So for example, here the same thing which are mentioned here, they are just written. For example, raw material pre-purification in order to bring it to the reactor, so that By the way, why we need to purify raw material? For example, if you just bring it as such to the reactor, then what is problem? Why you are
Sir,
installing?
हमारी रिएक्शन की एफिशिएंसी कम हो जाएगी.
sir, it can cause corrosion and it can cause slacking in the reactor.
Yes, it depends. This is the exactly valid point. Sometimes this can happen, as well as the other student said. For example, you are bringing some feed and that contain a lot of impurities. For example, impurities in terms of amount. If they are in large amount, definitely you will need a large reactor for specific conversion, and because impurities just have to pass through the reactor, so they should be separated so that you can reduce the size of your equipment. As well, sometimes these impurities are poisonous for your catalyst, because here in chemical process most of the time we have to use catalyst, so sometimes these impurities are poisonous for the catalyst. As I was giving you the example of urea production plant, in that sulfur is removed because if you bring the sulfur to the hydrogen production unit, which we usually call it reforming, so reforming catalyst, that get poisoned with the sulfur. If sulfur will be there, that will just deactivate the catalyst, because sulfur will just combine with the catalyst and it will stick it to its surface. It will not be converted to any product, and when it will stick to the surface, actually it is consuming the active sites of the catalyst. So there can be various reasons. Due to this, you have to remove impurities from the raw materials. Then there are unreacted feed separation. For example, your feed, which is as one student mentioned, that there are excess reactant, or most of the time you have some unreacted reactants which are going away from the reactor with the product stream. So you have to get them separated and bring it back to the reactor, like just recycle. Then there are product further separation and purification. In order to meet the purity, as well as sometimes to separate. For example, in some of the reaction, you are producing two products and maybe both are of use, so you have to finally separate them. So that can be the reason as well. So here are generally there are 40 to 70% of both capital and operating cost of chemical plant, they are of separation operation. So from here you can observe that this is a big part of any chemical plant. Like if we take it average, for example, we can say 50% is used for the only separations in terms of equipment and then their like operation. So we are done with this overall. Like in this lecture, if I summarize, we just discussed separation techniques by observing the daily life examples, and we try to link it with the separation technique which we will be studying, so that you can get some idea about those separation, that how those separation will be taking place, or how phenomena is taking place, how work conditions of which we observe in the daily life, they also affect the on industrial scale. And then we studied that these separation techniques are important because in all chemical plants, in order to purify your feed stream, to remove the impurities from feed stream, to purify your product, to recycle, to regenerate the catalyst, and for these kind of applications you need separation. And in order to do those separation, you will need a lot of separation techniques. So thank you so much.
Excuse me, sir.